Well, this is Susan with the Blue Bottle Bunny Farm channel, and today I want to tell y'all the story of the time my Uncle Billy came back from the dead to kick my ass. He did. See, Billy passed away in November of 1990, and I got married in June of 1991. Me and my first husband was living in Billy's old house because everything Billy owned went to my dad because he was the next to kin. So Daddy rented us that house real cheap. And it was just a little bitty old house, wasn't nothing to it. It had two little bitty bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom. And in the center of it, you couldn't even call it a hall. It was more like a little square of house where all the rooms joined together. But up above the door frames was just enough room that we could put some family pictures. So we considered Billy our benefactor. And we put a picture of Billy up there. And in that picture, Billy was wearing his Shriner's hat. He was a 32nd degree Mason, and he was a Shriner. And so he had that fez on and his red jacket. He got took down at Ola Mills. So we put that picture up. Billy saved everything. He didn't throw nothing away. I guess I got that from him because I don't either. But so he had this old building outside where, he just saved everything. He had big old steamer trucks just full of junk. Things like Life and Look magazine that would have been worth a fortune today if they was any good, but the rain and stuff had got to them and they was all moldy. But shoot, he saved every receipt he ever had. We found receipts for wrenches and stuff like that, from Kmart from 1970 something. He didn't throw nothing away. Well, one of the things he didn't throw away was my grandmother's old Singer treadle sewing machine. And we dusted it off and we kept it, and we put vases and pictures and knickknacks and stuff on it. And one day I decided I was going to clean the house real good. So I opened up the drawer to that sewing machine. I was going to clean out all the junk. I was going to store like markers and Sharpies and pens and pencils and stuff like that in those little drawers. Well, inside that drawer was an old welder's cap that my grandmother had been making for Billy out of, she'd taken apart an old welder's cap and she was making one out of quilting fabric, little colorful pieces of fabric. But she never finished it, and so it was in the drawer of that sewing machine. Well, when I opened it up, I looked at it and I picked it up and I said, well, we don't need this anymore. And I took it in the kitchen and I threw it in the trash can. Well, the moment that welder's cap hit the trash can, Carl was standing in the kitchen with me, and we hear crash. We go running to the little hallway, and laying on the floor was Billy's picture in that red fez and jacket, face up with this big, long, jagged crack down the front, and it looked so scary. And he looked at me and I looked at him, and we went running out on the front porch, clear out into the front yard. And we stood there just scared out of our wits for a good 15, 20 minutes before we could even go back in the house. We finally went back in the house, and I picked that welder's cap up out of the trash can. I put it back in the sewing machine, and there it stayed for years and years. I never threw it away. I don't know whatever happened to it, because after that, years later, me and Carl split up. But it stayed in that sewing machine for a long time. Since then, I still got some of Billy's stuff, and I ain't never thrown it away. I still got his Mason's apron rolled up in a cardboard tube somewhere, and I can't bring myself to part with it because You know, I don't want to bring the wrath of Billy down on me. Billy was a scary looking man. He's a big fella with big scary eyebrows and a big old belly. He didn't look nothing like my daddy. My daddy looked like Burt Reynolds. He's a really good looking man, but Billy was a scary looking guy. He liked to fight for sport. Anyhow, years later, after me and Carl moved out of that house, Daddy rented it to other people. And one of the people he rented it to was this lady named Annette that worked for CNS Railroad. And her job was to drive a van from rail yard to rail yard. And she'd pick up the workers and take them from one rail yard to the other rail yard where they was needed. And she lived in that house for a lot of years. And she said that sometimes at night she'd hear footsteps in that house. And that sometimes that the toilet would flush all by itself. So I think Billy is an earthbound spirit. I told Daddy the story, and he said, well, if you got a ghost and it's Billy, he's a sweet ghost, he wouldn't ever hurt you. But I wasn't so sure because he was kind of scary to me. So there you go. There's a story of the time my Uncle Billy came back from the dead to kick my ass, and I surely do believe that he would have if he could have. That picture laying face up like that was just scary looking. I still got it too. I still got Billy's Masonic apron too. I surely won't throw that thing away. Don't know what I'd do with it, but I ain't throwing it away. It's in here with this junk somewhere. Well, if you like this story, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I'll tell y'all some more stories some other time. Thanks for listening to me. I'm out.